Yes, good afternoon to everyone. You can find only 4 students have
Good
joined.
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. I can find only 4 students have joined. Raviteja, Gayatri, Amarnath, and Niharika Reddy. Who is this Niharika Reddy? I have never heard this.
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Today is my first class, sir.
Okay. You're from which college, like in Hyderabad campus or Vizag campus?
Now I'm from Vizag only, sir. I have joined Geetam Vizag campus.
Okay, okay. Where did you do your BTech?
In Hyderabad, sir. Civil engineering branch.
Your native place is from
Hyderabad only, sir.
Hyderabad. Okay. Fine.
Sir, till now, how many units are completed, sir?
Yeah, I think almost 3 modules have been completed.
First step before we design or before we model any kind of building shall be to study the architectural drawings. To study the architectural drawing, we are usually either provided with plans and elevations. So we are provided here with these 3 drawings. That is, 2 are the plans and 1 is the elevation. In the plan, the first plan is from basement to 11th story. Second plan is from 12th story to 26th story. This third drawing is the elevation of the building. In this elevation, we are provided with what exactly are the floor heights and how many basements are there and how many stories are there and what is the total height of the building. So we are provided here with 2 basements. First basement height is 2.9 plus 1.05, that is 3.95. Second basement height is 5.1 meter. After that, floor height is 4 meter, 3.6. And in between, wherever there are service floors, the height is of 3 meter. So in our case, the building is up to 26th story and the total height of the building is 101.85 meter. When we study the first plan, that is from basement to 11th story, we will find here that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 grades. The total length of the building along this direction is 32.25 plus 1.96 plus 1.96 meter. And along this direction, we will find that there are 5 grids, that is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. From center to center distance is approximately 19.555 meter. So this is a symmetrical building. These 2 are the cutouts for staircases. This is space for washrooms. This is a space for lift lobby. And this is a very big hall. Usually, this type of architectural is for office building. Similarly, from 12th story to 26th story, the architectural is almost same. The only difference is that this projection is missing here. So it's like the area of the building is somewhat higher from basement to 11th story, and after 12th story this projection is not there, only this system is present. So this architectural plan is clear to us now. This architectural plan is also clear to us now, and we are now clear what are the total number of floors and what is the floor height of the building. In the building, in this lecture series, we will learn how to design a high-rise building. To design a high-rise building in ETABS, we need to follow a specific checklist. To brief you up before we do the actual modeling, step 1 shall be, we shall enter the basic input data like units, grid dimension, story data, and grid dimensions. Step 2 shall be to define new materials. That is, we should enter the RCC material property, structural steel material property, rebar material property, or PT tension property if our building is post tension. Step 3 shall be to define the reinforcement bar sizes. Reinforcement bar sizes is different for different countries. So we need to input the specific reinforcement bar sizes as per bar sizes as per codal requirements. Step 4 shall be to define the frame sections. We shall define beam sizes, column sizes, wall sizes, slab sizes, or stand area sizes or deck thickness sizes as per our requirements. Step 5 shall be to define the diaphragms, pier levels and spandrel levels. Step 6 shall be to check the snap options. While modeling in ETABS, it is very important to model it correctly. And to model it correctly, it is very essential to select the correct snapping options. Step 7 shall be to draw the structure. And while drawing the structure, we draw columns, beams, slabs, we assign supports, we
Just a minute. I think the network is a little bit slow. I need to correct it somewhere. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah, the network is down like yesterday, and in college also it is same problem.
Step 8 shall be the main, that is to define the response spectrum function or time history function. That is to define the response spectrum slabs, we assign supports, we assign releases, etc. Step 8 shall be the main, that is to define the response spectrum function or time history function suitably as per our country. Step 9 shall be to define the load patterns, that is whether we are using dead load, super dead load, live load, seismic load, wind load, thermal load, fire tender, snow or FATO loadings. After that, step 10 shall be to assign the loads, that is we shall assign the dead load, super dead load, live, wind, thermal, etc. on the frame, joints or shell as per our requirements. Step 11 shall be to define the load cases. In ETABS, first of all we define the load patterns, then we define the load cases. Step 12 shall be to define the load combinations. Step 13 shall be to define the analysis options, that whether we want to do the advanced analysis or we want to do the basic analysis, we want to do 3D or 2D. This option shall be selected suitably. Step 14 shall be to analyze and check the behavior. Step 15 shall be to scale the response spectrum or time history analysis. Step 16 shall be to analyze the model again. To check the dynamic analysis correctness and compliance with the design codes. Step 17 shall be to design the RCC and steel part of the structure. That is, we should do the concrete design. We will then do steel design.
I think there is a problem with the network. I'll try to do it in another way. Just give me one more. Just give me some time.
Now we will learn how to define the story data. So to enter the story data, we need to first understand the elevation or cross section of the building to understand all the levels, all the floor heights, etc. Here you will see that our building is basically have 2 basement and 1 straight floor plan, and after that it goes up to 26th floor plan. So left click on edit story data window will open. After that you need to enter the level elevation here as -8 meter. So we enter -8, name it as basement 2 or B2 level. After that we enter the level here as B1. The floor height is between B2 and B1 is 5.1 meter. -2.9 meter, here you can cross check here, that is -2.9 number is here and -2.9 elevation is here. So both of the elevations are matching, that is whatever we are doing is correct. After that, from B1 to straight floor plan, the height is 2.9 plus 1.05, that is 3.95 meter. Here you can see that 1.05 and 1.05. The name is straight floor plan. After that, between stilt and first, the height is approximately 4 meter. So the number here is 5.05. Here also it is 5.05. After that, second floor plan, the height is 3.6 meter. We uncheck it as master story. Now we have reached up to second floor plan. After that, we need to enter third floor plan data, fourth floor plan data, and fifth floor plan data. After that, you can see here that the height is changing. So we need to enter 3 stories here of 3.6 meter height. To do that, we need to left click here and then right click here, left click on add story and then left click again on keep existing story heights. Keep the story height as 3.6 meter. Number of added stories 3. We need to insert above story second from existing story second. Then we left click on OK. So now we can see here that 19.45, that is fifth floor plan, is now available here. After that, we rename it as a third, fourth, and fifth. After that, we need to enter sixth floor plan data of 3 meter height. So we again left click here. So we again right click here and then left click on add story and keep existing story heights. We add a story height as 3 and insert above story fifth. So left click again on OK. So 22.45 meter, that is 6th floor plan, is now available here. After that, we need to enter further stories. So we need to check what exactly is the story height of all the stories. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 14 stories have height of 3.6 meter and it will eventually lead us to 19th floor plan, that is 69.25 meter level. So we again right click here, left click on add story and keep existing story heights. Number of added stories as 14, story height as 3.6 meter, insert above story. So sometimes it too happens, left click on cancel. Now again right click and then left click on add story and keep existing story heights. So now 6th floor option is now available. So story height is 3.6 meter. Number of added stories as 14. Left click again and OK. It might take some time on a computer to process. So now 20th floor plan, that is 72.85 meter level, is now available here. We need to do the proper numbering. So 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th and 20th. After that, one story height is 3 meter. So again, we need to do the same procedure. Right click here, left click on add story, keep existing story height, and left click on OK. This is the 21st floor plan of 75.85 meter elevation. After 75.85, that is 21st floor plan, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 floors of 3.6 meter height. So right click here.
Are you able to see the video?
Yes, sir.
Left click on OK option. So now we have reached 93.85 meter level. We rename it as 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th and terrace / 26th. None of them is a master story here, and we can cross check the elevation here. That is, we have started from -8 meter level to 93.85 meter level. So we left click on OK option and then again left click on OK. So now we can see here that ETABS has developed plans and a elevation of the grids that we have modeled. Now the most important step here is to save the model. So now we save the model in our system. High-rise response spectrum. Left click on save. So now we have saved the model. After that, the step that we have missed is we need to set the correct units. Exactly what happens is that for SI units, although we have selected SI units in the welcome form, but we need to set the acceleration here. So acceleration has to be in meter per second here for easier understanding while defining the response spectrum function. So now we have completed our step 1, that is we have studied the architectural drawing, we have defined the units on the welcome screen, we have set the grid dimensions, we have set the correct story data, we have set the correct units for length, force and acceleration, and we have saved the file. So now this task is now accomplished. The step 2 shall be to define the new materials. New material shall be RCC material, structural steel material, and reinforcement material. To do that, we need to go to our model, we need to go to define and material properties. Here we will need to left click on add new material, region India, material concrete. Now we have already shortlisted what exactly will be the material grades in our structure. So the grade of concrete for foundation shall be M50, shear wall shall be M50, beam shall be M50, columns and slabs will also be M50. Retaining wall shall be of M35, water tank shall be of M35, PT beams and PT slabs, if they are to be modeled in our structure, shall be of M45. And grade of reinforcement shall be FE500. Grade of structural steel, that is structural steel sections, if need to be modeled or if need to be used in our structure, shall be of FE250 grade. So we need to define 1, 2, 3 and 4 type of materials. We need to go to India, concrete, Indian, and grade shall be M50. Left click on OK. Here you can see that the concrete cube compressive strength FCK is for M50 is 50 MPa. Left click on OK option, and then again left click on OK. So M50 is now defined. After that, we need to define M35. So we need to again left click on add new material, M35, left click on OK. Check the property, left click again on OK. So now M35 is defined. After that, we need to go to defining FE500. So left click on add new material, rebar, HYST grade 500, left click on OK. Check the strength here, and again left click on OK. And then again left click on OK. Now HYST 500 is now defined. After that, we need to define this Fe250, that is structural steel. Left click on add new material, material type is steel, and grade is Fe250. Left click on OK, check the property, and then again left click on OK. So now these four materials are now defined. Left click on OK to save the materials. So now we have completed our step 2. Step 3 shall be to define the reinforcement bar sizes. To define the reinforcement bar sizes, we need to go to define, section property, and reinforcing bar sizes. Here you will see that all the bars are of SI, that is of 6 mm, 8 mm, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. So this is as per our requirement, so we can left click on OK to save this option. We can save this model sections. So we take them. After that, we need to define diaphragms, pier labels, and spandrel labels. So we go to define diaphragms. Here we can left click on add new diaphragm to add different number of diaphragms. As our building has 26 stories, so we can enter 26 number of different diaphragms. There are different approaches of different structural engineers. As per my practice and as per my observations, it is always better to name all the different floors as different diaphragms. Some engineers, what they do is that they model all the floors with only one diaphragm. That I won't recommend you to do. Torsional moment of that particular diaphragm, that we can't check unless you have modeled or unless you have named each diaphragm with a different name. So and after that, second thing, should we model it as rigid or semi-rigid? Semi-rigid is like we should model semi-rigid diaphragms only for these deck slabs or for checkered plates or for the floors. But RCC floor slab is a like very rigid diaphragm, so we should model it as only rigid. And after that, we left click on OK. Continue doing it that unless we reach the number 26. Left click on OK. After that, we need to define the pier label and spandrel labels. In our model, we won't have any spandrel labels. We will only have piers. How many numbers of piers do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we define 8 number of different pier labels. So we go to define and pier labels. Left click on add new name. As P1 is already defined, we name it as P2 and then add new name. P3 add new name. P4 add new. Left click on OK option. So now we have defined pier labels and different diaphragms for different floors. Always save the model. So now in the previous lecture, we have already defined peer labels and diaphragms. So we check it. After that, we need to check the snap options. Now snap option is a very important thing before we start the actual modeling of the structure. How we can do snap, draw and snap options. So here you can see that the click will be done only on those points where we will have snapping on. So before doing that, I will always advise you to snap to line ends and midpoints, lines and frames, perpendicular projections, parallels. So we left click on apply and then close. So now we have completed our step 6 also. After that, we need to draw the structure. See, we should always take care of one story and all story option. This is a very important thing. What I have seen among my juniors or people who are learning ETABS for the first time, they ignore this option. Sometimes what actually happens is that we accidentally left it on all stories. And whatever we are doing it on one story, it will automatically copy to all the floors. So unless you want this option should not be ticked. So before modeling any or before changing model on any floor and any elevation, always take care that whether we want this one story option or this all stories option. Similar stories option will only be applicable if we have selected a master story. While defining story start won't be applicable in this model. So we minimize this. We close this model explorer. In this lecture, we will learn how to complete the 7th step. That is, we should draw columns, beams, slabs, and walls. We should assign fixed support. We should assign releases if required. We should assign diaphragms, pier label, and spandrel labels, and we should check the model for any modeling errors. So this is somewhat a long step that we are taking. So this might take some time. So first of all, we should adjust our windows so that we can do parallel working here. After that, what we need to do here is that we should study the drawing. So here you can see that if we start from this point, on grid 2A, the column size is 750 by 900 mm. And this is the plan from basement to 11th story. And after that, if we go to 12th story to 26th story, we will notice that 750 by 900 column is still available on grid 2A. So after that, we need to adjust the windows here. So this is like a 3D view here that I will suggest you to let it be open. Don't close this window because it will be better to check whatever we are doing here, what is the output here. So we need to model a column here on grid 2A. So we go to draw. Before that, we should select the level also here, that what exactly is the plan on which we are working. So I will suggest you to open basement 1 level. Left click on this window and then left click on apply. So basement 1 level is now open here. Here, by clicking on this window, open the 3D view. So this is the best arrangement to do any kind of modeling. So after that, we go to draw beam, column, base, and then left click on quick draw columns. Please notice that this window is now selected. So we select the model as, so we select the column as 750 into 900 M50. This is the column here. So we left click on this grid point A2. Notice that grid point A2 is being shown by ETABS. So it means that whatever you are snapping, it is correct. Then left click here. So you will notice that this column is now drawn from this point to this point. One thing that I want you to understand is that please close this window and then again left click on select object. You will notice that the orientation is different in this view and this view. So we need to make the change in the properties only. So we go to define section properties and frame sections. We select the column 750 900 M50. Left click on modify show property. We select depth as 750 and width as 900. So this thing we have to do in ETABS because we really need to understand what exactly is the orientation. So if we will move this window, you will notice that this orientation and this orientation is now matching. After that, we need to again draw the 750 into 900 column here on grid point 2B. So we go to draw, beam, column, brace, quick draw columns. Left click on grid point 2B. So here you will notice that this column is now drawn from this point to this point. After that, 750 900 column is also available on grid point 3A and 3B. This is 3A and this is 3 B. So we left click on grid point 3A and then again left click on 3B. So 750 by 900 columns, all these 4 columns are now drawn from basement to terrace level. After that, we need to draw 1 meter by 1 meter size columns on these 4 grids. And before that, we need to model these 715 to 900 4 columns, just like symmetrical from this point here to this point here. So these 4 grids are E2, F2 and E3, F3. So E2, F2, E3 and F3. So now we have modeled these 8 columns of 750 into 900 mm size. After that, we need to model these 1 meter by 1 meter columns on grid point C2D2 and C3D3. So we select the column size here, 1 meter by 1 meter M50, C2, D2, C3 and D3. Notice that all way we have selected this all stories option. So whatever we are drawing here, it is being copied on all the stories. So this is somewhat a shortcut to model a same type of structure on all the floors. So now we have selected. So now we have modeled all these columns. After that, we need to model these columns, and these column size is 500 into 1000. So now we will model these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 columns. Notice that the orientation is different for different columns. This orientation is like this and this orientation is like this. So what we can do initially is that we need to define 2 different type of columns. So before that, we will model a column 500 into 1000 M50 and let's see what is the orientation of this column. The grid point is 1B and the orientation is showing like this. So left click here, all stories option is selected and the ETABS will draw the column from 26 from the terrace to the basement level. After that, we need to draw a column like this and column like this. So this grid point is E1. So we select it as grid point E1. After that, we need to model the 500 to 1000 column like this. So now there are 2 different options. Either we model the column like this and rotate the column from the ETABS option, or there is a neat and clean approach to doing that. We can define a new column. So we close this option. We go to define, section properties, frame sections, select the column 500,000 M50, select add copy of property, depth as 500 and width as 1000. We have initially named it as 500,000, so we will name it as 1000 into 500 M50. All the remaining options are same, modifiers are same, and reinforcement is same. So left click on OK option. So column 1000 into 500 M50 is now defined, and then again we check that all stories option is ticked. Working plane is basement 1. We go to draw, beam column raise and quick draw columns. This window will open. Adjust the size of this window. Now select column 1000 into 500 M50. And then again left click on this point. So now this column will be drawn and this column will be drawn. After that, we need to model these 8 columns. So now we have modeled all the columns in our ETABS model. After that, what we need to do is that we need to close this option, left click on select object. So now all the columns in our model are ready. After that, we need to draw the RCC structural walls. So these 4 structural walls are of 600 mm thickness. So we go to draw, floor and wall objects, draw walls in plan view. Type of area is pier and we select wall as 600 M50. You will notice that this wall is from basement to the terrace level, and between grids A and B and between grids E and F. So what we can do here is that A and B, E and F. So we left click on this point, grid point A2, wall 6 and M50 is selected. We are working plane is basement 1 and all storage option is selected. So whatever we are doing, it will be copied to all the floors. So this point and grid point B2 is now selected. So now this wall is drawn here. To release the mouse, just right click. So now our mouse is free and our cursor is free. So now we can left click on grid point E2 to grid point F2. So now this wall is also drawn here. After that, same shall be done on grid 3. Grid point A3 and grid point B3. Grid point E3 and grid point F3. So now we have modeled 600 mm walls in our model. After that, we need to model 400 mm structural walls. So for 400 mm structural walls, what we need to do here is that we need to study the grids. That is 400 mm walls are on grid C and on grid D, between 500 into 1000 and 1000 into 1000 column size. So we select the wall size as 400 mm, left click on grid point C1 and then left click on grid point C2. Same for D1 and D2. Same for C3 and C4. Same for D3 and D4. We shall always take care that snapping should be on the center. Otherwise the results will be of somewhat erroneous value. So now we have modeled all the walls in our ETABS model. After that, what we need to do here is that we need to draw the beams and slabs. Before drawing slabs, what we need to do here is that we should draw the beams. Our beam framing should be, as I had told you earlier also, that main beam shall be a 450 into 900 mm size and peripheral beam shall be a 400 into 750 mm size. So we select draw beam column base, draw beam column base. So first of all, we will model the peripheral beams, that is of size 400 into 750. So left click on grid point A3. And then on grid point A2. We'll notice that this beam is now drawn from basement to terrace level. After that, we need to select this grid point to grid point B1. After that, from grid point B1 to grid point C1. Notice that always release the left click when this name is coming. Otherwise, it will be snapped to some other point. This is not correct. But when this grid point name is coming, then only left click here. Grid point D1. No, not correct. Now it is correct. Not correct. Now this is correct. So you are getting me. What exactly I am trying to say here is that we should always snap on the grid centers. Grid point E3. E4. Not correct. Now this is correct. C3 to D3. B4 to C4. B4 to B3. So now we have drawn all the peripheral beams in our model. After that, we need to draw this 450 into 900 beam. Always take care to snap on the grid intersections. So now we have drawn these main beams of 450 to 900 mm size and after 50 size. Some people usually import this file from AutoCAD also, but I won't recommend you to do that unless you have some practical training on how to do that, because importing from AutoCAD may lead to some kind of errors. And for a high-rise building, which is usually symmetrical, this is not practically advised as per my opinion. It is always better to start things from scratch so that you have full control over what exactly are you modeling. So I won't recommend you never to do importing from AutoCAD. So after that, we have modeled all these beam sizes. After that, what we can do here is that as the span is quite large, so we need to model the secondary beams also here. So secondary beam should be like, we can either draw one beam from this midpoint to this midpoint, or we can draw two beams. Single point load always have higher moment value as compared to when we put 2 point loads on a beam. So it is always better to divide the beam into 3. So what we can do here is that we can draw one beam along this line. That is, we can draw 400 to 750 beam here from this point to this point, and then to this point, to this point. The sole purpose of this beam is to break the span of the slab. Otherwise, you can imagine the slab thickness shall be quite high. Now we are easily able to snap this option because we have selected perpendicular snap options in our previous lecture. So that is the practical advantage of snapping options. So now we have made a almost symmetrical arrangement and a balanced arrangement as to how we can break the beams and how we can model the column, slabs and structural walls. After that, we need to model the slab in our structural model. Notice that this is the area for staircase and this is the area for staircase. So these two areas will be cutouts only, and this is a lift well also. So for lift well, we need to model the beams here and here. So what we need to do here is that the dimension for up to from this point to this point is So now we have modeled a single slab. It is better to not to model slab in these areas and these beam column brace, draw beam column. This is the x-axis and copy this beam from this point to this point. So what we need to do here is that we need to draw a beam here. So we go to draw beam column brace, draw beam columns. We can draw 400 to 750 beam here from this point to this point. Or we could copy this beam from this point to this point. Just notice that when we are left clicking on this, 28 frames are selected because whatever change we are doing, it is being changed on all the stories. Just do Control C on your keyboard and Control V. So here you will notice that this is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. So on x, we need to copy it as -3 meters. So left click on OK option. So now this beam is now drawn here. And this beam is from midpoint to midpoint. So what we can do here is that we could draw beam column brace, draw beam column. And then again, we could snap from this point to this point. So now we have drawn two cutouts here, and this cutout and this cutout. Like there are two options to define a cutout. One is to draw floor wall and draw floor wall. Here you can select the opening. I will never recommend you to do that because sometimes it do happens that the main reason for instability in your model is this opening only. So it is better to not to model slab in these areas and these areas. So to model the slab, we need to go to draw floor wall, select slab 225 M50 and then start drawing the slab. Always notice that it should go up to the grade point. So now we have modeled a single slab with one cutout here, one cutout here, and two cutouts here for lift lobby. We should always check that all the intersections should be on the grid lines only. So now our beam is modeled, slab is modeled, and structural walls are modeled. If we will study our model has some cantilever slabs or projections. So in the previous lecture, we have drawn columns, beams, slabs, and walls. In this lecture, we will check whether our model has some cantilever slabs or projections or water tanks or planters, ramps or staircases, etc. Because these considerations also need to be sometimes modeled in our structure. So if we will study our model and the drawing that we had for architectural drawing, here you will see that from basement to 11th story, there is a projection of 1.96 meter length here. So we need to model this projection also from basement to 11th story. What we need to do here is that we need to draw a beam here, draw beam column base, draw beam column. We select the size of B 400 into 750 only. Go to grid point A2. On the conservative side, we can select its dimension as 2 meter. So we have modeled this 2 meter beam here. Similarly, we will model a beam here from grid point A3. And then we will model a tie beam from this point to this point. So now we have made this cantilever arrangement here. Similar arrangement should be drawn on this side also. So we snap the grid point F2, draw it for 2 meter length, right click, and then again left click grid point F3, 2 meter, and then draw. You'll notice that the angle is not 90 degrees, something is not right. So we undo this and then we draw the beams again. Then again here, and then now this angle is 90 degree. So now we have drawn the projections. We can close this window here. So now we have drawn the projections on both the sides. Now we need to model the slab here. To model the slab, what we can do here is that we can draw floor wall edges, draw floor wall plan. Slab 225 is selected. Snap to this point, then to grid point A3. Then to grid point A2, and then to this joint. So now this slab is modeled here. Similarly, we will follow the same arrangement here. Grid point F3, joint, joint, and then grid point F2. So now we have modeled a cantilever arrangement. Now we need to repeat this cantilever projection from basement level to 11th story. So what we need to do here is that we need to select these projections. Press Ctrl+R on your keyboard. Or what we can do here is that we can go to edit and replicate. The shortcut is Ctrl+R. Go to story option. Select, as this cantilever is already on basement 1 level, select stilt first, second, third, fourth, fifth, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th. Left click on apply. Go to this option, left click on add new window. Go to 3D view. So here you will notice that this projection is now drawn here. We can press shift key on your keyboard and press the scroll wheel simultaneously to rotate the model to check that whether the projection that we have drawn is correct or not. So this seems to be okay to us. and above 11 story this projection is not available. So now we have modeled this cantilever projection as per the architectural requirements. So this point is now complete. In this lecture, we will learn how to assign fixed supports to the foundation base. As our building is a high-rise building, in case of residential building, like a building is like a single story or 2 story, then we can assign plinth support. But in case of a high-rise building which is 26 story high, we need to assign fixed support to the foundation base. To assign fixed support to the foundation base, we need to first go to that level. We go to plan, left click on basement to apply, and then close. Now we select all the joints like this by drawing a window. We go to assign joint and restraints. Then we select the fixed restraint in which all the translation and all the rotation moments are restrained. Left click on apply and then close. So now we have assigned the fixed support to the foundation base. We can also cross check what exactly we have accomplished here by right clicking on this point. We will see that the restraints are now correctly applied. Make sure that only one story is selected, not all stories are selected. So in the previous lecture, we have assigned fixed support to the foundation base. So we will checklist that. After that, we need to draw retaining walls if these are required. In our plan, from basement 2 to basement level 1 level, retaining wall is required to retain the soil on the outside surface. To do that, we need to go to our model. Now we will go to our basement 1 plan. As the height of the retaining wall is quite high, so I will suggest you to take minimum thickness of approximately 400 mm. So we will draw 400 mm thickness retaining wall. We need to go to draw, floor wall objects, draw walls in plan. Here we need to select wall 400 M50 and then draw the retaining walls. From grid point to grid point. Grid point C2. Make sure that only one story is selected, and side by side do check whatever you are drawing in the plan view is correct or not in the 3D view. The only disadvantage of modeling this retaining wall is that the mass participation factor in the first 3 modes shall be less according to the model. So if we want to cross check the mass participation factor, we have to delete this retaining wall. That I will tell you in the further lectures. Actually, there are various factors that come into contribution while we are considering the retaining walls. There is a term in high-rise building called backstay effects. That backstay effect is due to the retaining wall. What exactly that is backstay effect, that also I will tell you while we are analyzing the structure. We will see in practical what exactly is the significance of backstay and how we need to cater that effect for the structural stability. Experts always advise that we should both consider as well as ignore the stiffness of retaining wall. That is, we should take the average value of the structural analysis value that comes into picture. So now we have modeled the retaining wall on all the 4 sides. Same shall be done on the straight floor level. on both the levels. Here you will notice that both the walls and beams are coming on the same surface. So we need to delete these beams because these beams are not technically required. Make sure that one story is selected. Because wall itself has a very high stiffness. Plus walls can also take axial forces in addition to movements due to the main building and in addition to the overturning movements by the outside soil. So all the peripheral beams that were coinciding with the retaining walls are now deleted. Same we will do for the lower floor also. That is for basement 1 level. We will select all these beams and we'll delete all these beams as these are not technically required. Do take care that whenever you're selecting these beams, the frame should be visible here, not shells. For example, if I select a shell here, one shell 4 is selected. You can uncheck this shell by clicking escape on your keyboard. So now we have deleted all the peripheral beams that are coinciding with the retaining walls. So this is our final model. So now we have drawn the retaining walls also. Now we have drawn the retaining wall also. In this lecture, we will learn how to assign releases to the beams. Releases are somewhat a difficult option for new engineers or for people who have just entered into the structural engineering industry. They don't know difference between a moment connected beam and a shear connected beam. In this typical case, first of all, let us select all stories because the beam framing arrangement is almost same for all the floors. Here you will notice that there are these main beams. In these main beams, moment shall be transferred from this beam to the column. But if we look at this particular beam case, this beam is resting here on this beam and this beam. So what exactly will happen is that the beam will be simply supported as the moment cannot be transferred from this beam to this beam. Only shear force will be transferred. So to make it a simply supported beam, we need to go to assign, frame, and releases partial fixity. We need to select torsion, M2 to M33, both on start and end. Start and end means this is the starting point and this is the ending point. And moment M22 and moment M33, that is major moment and minor moment will be released. That is beam will not have capacity to take major moment and minor moment on both the ends. Only axial force and shear force will be transferred on both the ends. So left click on apply. These two circles will be formed, that is the beam is now simply supported. Same will be the case for this beam as this beam is resting on this beam and this beam. Now we need to understand about this beam. So reinforcement will be continuous for this beam from this point to this point, and a main junction will be formed on this point only, not on this point, as moment will be transferred from this beam to this beam. So what exactly will happen is that if you draw the moment diagram for this complete beam, moment will be 0 here and then it will rise like this and then it will go again down and then again it will rise like this and then again it will go down and then again it will rise like this. So we need to assign releases only on the end point here. So and similarly we need to assign releases to the starting point here. Left click on apply. So this shall be the behavior of releases in our beam arrangement. Now if we go to the basement, in basement this point shall not be released. So to do that, now if we go to the basement, what exactly will happen here is that this beam shall not be released here as moment can be transferred from this beam to the retaining wall. So what we need to do here is that we should select one story, select this beam and assign this property left click on apply. So beam is only released here. At upper floor, this is the arrangement, release arrangement, and whereas in the lower floors, this is the arrangement. Same case here. Please notice that we should release torsion only on one end. For in the case of simply supported beam like this, we should not release torsion on both the ends. If we do it like that, it will show that it is unstable. So we need to release the torsion on one end only, and then left click on apply. So this is the basically arrangement that we require while assigning releases to the beam. In RCC, releases are somewhat simpler, whereas if we are designing steel structures, the releases become very important part. So in the previous lectures, we have already assigned releases to the beams. Now we will assign the diaphragms, pier levels and spandrel levels if required. There are no spandrels in our model, so we need to assign diaphragms and pier levels. To assign diaphragms, we need to go to set display options. We will switch off all the structural elements except floors. Left click on apply and then close. So you will notice that this is the first basement level. Make sure that one story option is selected. Select this floor, go to assign shell diaphragms. So we will first assign D1 diaphragm, then we go above to still floor D2. Similarly, we go up to 26th floor, D3, So basically there are two floors left. We can left click on modify show definitions, add new diaphragm D27 and D28. Left click on OK. So we can assign D27 diaphragm to this and D28 diaphragm to the terrace floor. So now we have assigned diaphragms to all the floors here. We can see the arrangement here. As the change is occurring on the 12th floor, you can see that the floor area is somewhat larger here. So the center of diaphragm is here, but when we go up, it has slightly shifted to the right. So now we have assigned diaphragms to all the floors. After that, we need to assign the pier levels. To assign pier levels, what we can do is that we need to go to apply to all windows, set to default view options, and then apply. Close, display and deform shape. So now that contour is now removed. So after that, we need to assign pier levels. To assign pier level, we can go to plan. You can select any plan. For example, let it be second floor, apply. We again need to go to display options. We can switch off all the structural elements except walls. Apply and close. So now we have these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 RCC structural walls. Now we can assign, go to assign shell and pier level. Assign it as P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, P6, P7 and P8. So now we have assigned diaphragms as well as pier level. So now this option is now checked. After that, we need to check the model for any modeling errors. So in this lecture, we will understand how to check model for any modeling errors and how to fix them if required. So ETABS has an option that we can go to analyze and check model. Here ETABS check for joints, frames within tolerance, joint shells within tolerance, frame overlapping, intersection, shell overlap, meshing, loading, duplicate self mass, etc. So select this option also and then left click on OK. So here you will see that the ETABS is creating analysis model for all the floors. So model has been checked and no warning messages were generated. This is because we have drawn all the structural elements from grid intersection to grid intersections. So this is a very important check that we need to consider after some time, because with modeling errors, it becomes very difficult to remove those modeling errors. So always take care and always take great precaution while modeling the beam, slabs, columns and walls. So until now we have completed the step 7 of the ETABS checklist. That is, we have drawn the structure, beam, slabs and all the retaining walls and releases, diaphragms, and we have also checked the model for any modeling errors. So step 8 starts with to define the response spectrum or time history function. As we are doing the response spectrum function, so we will go to define functions and response spectrum. Here by default some response spectra is available, but we need to select our function. For example, in our case it is IS1893-2002. Left click on add new function. So we name it as IS1893. Just to remember, seismic zone factor, as this building is in our zone 4, so we select it as 0.24. This is the response spectrum curve as per the Indian standards. So we left click on OK option. So IS1893 is now IS1893 response spectra function is now defined. We can delete the spectrum. Left click on OK and save the model. After that, we have already named it properly. After that, we need to define the mass source. So step 9 shall be to define the load patterns. To define the load pattern, we need to define dead load, superimposed dead load, as in our case live load, seismic load plus 0.05 eccentricity, seismic load along x minus 0.05 eccentricity, seismic load along y and plus minus eccentricity, wind load along all the 4 directions, thermal load. As our building dimensions are less, so we don't need to provide this thermal load. We need to define fire tender load only for those buildings which are having non-tower area. In our case, fire tender loading shall not be applicable, and snow loading, it is not required in our case, and rooftop helipad loading is also not required in our case. So we start with defining the load pattern name. In ETABS, we need to define load pattern also, and we need to define the load cases also. So we go to define load patterns. Dead and lime are by default available in the ETABS model. So we name it as super dead, name it as SIDL. Left click on add new load. Live load is by default available. DL, SIDL, LL. We can name it like this for easy remembrance. DL, LL. So dead load, live load and superimposed dead load. So in the previous lecture, we have defined dead load, superimposed dead load and live load as a load pattern. After that, we need to define seismic loading. Before we define seismic loading, we need to be clear about the Indian Standard Code about the earthquakes. So I want to give you a brief reading of what exactly our Indian standard for earthquake guide us for the.
So I think you don't have earthquake analysis in your syllabus as of now, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here is the codal explanation of the code, and the important points. So please follow carefully.
Buildings. Otherwise, it will be difficult for you to understand what exactly we are doing. So this is the Indian Standard for Earthquake 1893 Part 1, which was released in 2016. In this, first of all, the code gives us a basic terminology. That is, what is the definition of closely spaced modes? What is meant by critical damping? That is the damping beyond which free vibration motion will not be oscillatory. Damping, which is a very important parameter, that is the effect of internal friction, inelasticity of materials, slipping, sliding, etc. in reducing the amplitude of oscillation. Design acceleration spectrum, it is also a very important parameter. It refers to an average smoothened graph of maximum acceleration as a function of natural frequency on natural period of oscillation for a specified damping ratio for the expected earthquake excitations at the base of a single degree of freedom system. After that, design horizontal acceleration coefficient AH, design horizontal force, ductility, it is the capacity of structure to undergo large inelastic deformations. I've already covered the definition of ductility in my previous lectures. Epicenter, flow response spectrum, importance factor. Importance factor, the code gives us an importance factor value for different buildings. Intensity, liquefaction, model mass of a structure, mass model participation factor. So the amount by which natural mode K contributes to overall oscillation of structure during horizontal or vertical earthquake ground motion. So natural period, the code gives us a formula for the natural period, fundamental Newton translational natural period. The code gives us a formula. P ground acceleration, which we name it as PGA, response reduction factor, I have already covered in my previous lecture. It is the factor by which base shear induced in a structure, if it were to remain elastic, is reduced. I repeat, reduced to obtain the design base shear. So basically, as I told you earlier also, we do not design the structure for full earthquake. We design the structure for earthquake divided by the response reduction factor. That response reduction factor, why we are providing? Because of the ductility of the structure. Response spectrum definition, response acceleration coefficient, SA by G, seismic mass, seismic weight, seismic zone factor. Basically, a country is divided into various zone factors. There are zone 2, zone 3, zone 4 and zone 5. A simple definition by chemistry analysis. Base. What is meant by the base as per the Indian standard? It is the level at which inertia forces are considered to transfer to the ground through the foundations. The center of mass, center of resistance, eccentricity. Eccentricity is the value to be used for floor I in calculation of design torsion effects. Design seismic base shear, diaphragm that we had already assigned, height of the floor, height of the building. It is a very important definition of height of the building. Mostly people are confused whether we should include the basement story height or exclude the basement story height. Basically what is happening here is that the height of the building is from its base to the top of roof level, excluding the height of basement stories if basement walls are connected with the ground floor slab or basement wall are fitted between the building columns, and including the height of basement stories if basement walls are not connected with the ground floor slab and basement walls are not fitted between the building columns. In our case, the basement walls are fitted with the building columns, so we need not consider the height of the basement stories. That is, height of the building shall be from this level to terrace level. Or if we see it in drawing, This is the height of the building for earthquake consideration, that is 92.8 meter. After that, the code gives us guideline for horizontal bracing system, joints, lateral force resisting system, moment resisting frame. There are two types of frame, that is ordinary moment resisting frame and special moment resisting frame. So ordinary moment resisting frame can be designed and detailed as per IS 456 or IS 800. IS 456 is for Indian standard for concrete design. IS 800 is for steel design and not meeting special detailing requirements for as per IS 13920 or IS 800 respectively. But for special moment resisting frame, as we are providing in our building, we are providing SMRF, that is special moment resisting frame in our building, so it has to be compliant with IS 13920. Number of stories, it is the number of level of building above the base at which mass is present in substantive amounts. This basement walls are connected with the ground floor deck or fitted between the building columns, and include the basement stories when they are not so connected. Now, like in high-rise building, core structural walls, perimeter columns, outriggers, and belt truss systems, these four type of structural systems are the most dominant while we are designing very high-rise buildings. Our building is only 26 story, but if we are going for buildings where height is approximately, or the number of stories are more than 50 or number of stories are more than 100, then we need to assign these type of structural system to the building. After that, principal plane axis and P delta effects. In our building, we need to consider P delta effects. How we need to consider that I will tell you later on. RCC structural walls, there are two types of RCC structural walls, ordinary RCC structural walls or special RCC structural walls. Ordinary RCC structural walls need not to be designed as per this IS 13920, that is earthquake detailing standard, and special RCC structural wall has to be designed as per IS 13920. Now there are two types of stories, soft story and weak stories. Both of these stories are prohibited as per the latest standards. Soft story is the one in which lateral stiffness is less than that in the story above. That is when we are considering this ETABS model. For example, if the stiffness of this floor is less than the stiffness of this floor, then it will be called as a soft story. And weak story is the one in which story lateral strength is less than that in the story above. So there are two types of things, soft story and weak story. Soft story is the one in which lateral stiffness is less than that of story above, and weak story is the one in which the lateral strength is less than that of the story above. After that, you need to be clear about what exactly do you mean by story drift. It is the relative displacement between the floors above or below, not the total deflection. So the story drift will be like if this floor is displacing 10 mm on the right hand side and this floor is displacing 6 mm on the right hand side. So the drift for this story shall be 10 minus 6, that is 4 mm. After that, story shear, it is the sum of design lateral forces at all level above the story I into consideration. After that, story lateral shear strength, story lateral transition stiffness, and RC structural wall plan density. These are the parameters that code has provided us with definition. After that, there are various parameters that code is guiding us, that earthquake will not likely to be occur with high wind or high maximum flood or maximum sea waves. That is, we never mix earthquake loading with the wind loading. After that, load combination, code has guided us, load combination shall be as specified in the respective standard. That is, for they shall be different for concrete and steel. Now this is a very important part, that is clause 6.3.2, design horizontal earthquake load. When the lateral load resisting elements are oriented along two mutually orthogonal horizontal directions, structure shall be designed for effects due to full design earthquake load in one horizontal direction at a time and not in both directions simultaneously. That is, when the building is perpendicular to x and y axis or parallel to x and y axis, then that building shall not be checked for the combined this type of loading, that is ELX plus 0.3 ELY. When the building is not perpendicular to the, or like the building with a very special structural shapes, then that building need to be designed for ELX plus 0.3 ELY plus minus and plus minus 0.3 ELX plus minus 0.3 plus ELY. So where X and Y are the two orthogonal horizontal plane directions. So this is the load combination that shall be considered for non-orthogonal buildings, that I had also enclosed in this Excel file. I have prepared a list for all the load combinations that need to be done when the building is non-orthogonal, and this is the load combinations for the building in which the building is orthogonal to the X and Y axis. Here in our case, the building line is parallel to x-axis and building line is parallel to y-axis. If this building must have been rotated like this, so that building is non-orthogonal, and in that case we need to apply this type of loading and design vertical earthquake effects. Now this is a major change in the latest earthquake standard. Whenever a structure is located in seismic zone 4 or seismic zone 5, we need to design the structure for vertical earthquake also. In addition to that, wherever vertical earthquake has to be considered when the structure has vertical or plane irregularities, structure is rested on the soft soil, bridges, structure has long spans, or the structure has large horizontal overhangs or structural members or subsystems. So in our case also, I have prepared this list of load combinations. Here this RSX, RSY and RSZ, that is response spectrum load along X, Y and Z. Z is the vertical axis. So in that case,